Hi, welcome to the Human Sunshine Podcast. I'm here with my best friend, Brittany Maurer.
Hey, this is my best friend, Sunny Woodall, and I am so excited today to be a part of this project and podcast. I just have to say, I am so proud of my best friend for doing this. It's been a long time coming. We've known each other for over 10 years now. Mm-hmm. And I've kind of seen you through maybe not all stages because I haven't known you your whole life, but I've seen you through a lot of milestones and roller coaster of life. Mm-hmm. And we've been through some shit.
Yeah, we have, for sure.
And I'm so happy and smiling to be here, even though the topics that we're going to talk about today are viewer discretion advised. Mm-hmm. It's, could be triggering for a lot of people to hear about what you've been through, because we're going to talk about trauma and abuse and substance abuse and suicide and just so many really serious topics. Mm-hmm. But we can smile about it now because I'm so proud to be sitting here with you right now and to see how far that you've come. Mm-hmm. I'm really excited to see where this is going to go and how impactful this journey is going to be for other people to hear, not only just to get to know you as a person and a business owner, but the triumph and the advice that you can give other people who are sitting in that same spot right now, or who have dealt with this and really never healed from it, because that's a whole nother thing to talk about. Is it's those scars that the trauma leave on you that you never really heal from. I really hope that this reaches the people that need to hear it.
Me too.
Because I really do feel it is important to get your story out and, be able to help as many people as you can.
Yeah. And thank you for being here to share all of it with me.
You're welcome.
Love you.
Love you. Hi, Sunny.
Hi, Brittany.
I'm so happy to be here today.
So am I.
This has been a long time coming.
Yes, it has been.
I kind of just want to talk to the viewers kind of a little backstory of your life so that they can kind of get to know you and know kind of how it started, because the situation that you were in, it's not something that just starts overnight. There's a lot of factors that led you to that point, from childhood to teenager and adulthood, and, kind of just want to get to know you a little more.
Yeah. So, I had a pretty normal upbringing, I guess. My parents were divorced before I was even born, so I never knew them in the same home ever. My mom pretty much raised me, and from just a very young age, I can just remember, unfortunately, always, watching my mom get ready for work, and she hated her job, and she was miserable, and I know she had a lot on her plate and stuff. So I decided at a very, very young age, I never wanted that to be me. I always wanted to do something that I was passionate about, something that was inspiring, and that was just something I loved. I knew I needed to do something I loved. And obviously, I grew up as a dancer, and the arts and those things. I just sort of threw myself into the sports and the dance and all of that stuff, and had a great, high school. I feel like I can always remember also having my friends as family. I would always find solace in my friends. I was always very close to them and their families, and found comfort in the closeness with my friends and their families and their home life. And maybe that's because my home life was a bit different. And then, after high school, going to college, it was just an easy transition, and dancing there and being in a sorority, and had this amazing college life. And I just worked really, really hard, being a bartender on the weekends, going to school during the day. I was always just work all the time. And it felt good, and I'm still like that today, just busy, and always just my motto is I keep it moving no matter what. Sometimes they're hard, but if you don't keep it moving and you stop, usually that's when things start to settle in more. So for me, I'm just of the mindset you got to just keep going.
Do you feel like you spent a lot more time at your friend's house because like you desired to have that type of like family unit in your own life?
Absolutely. I definitely loved, I love family and that environment. And I really, really loved my friends that had like their parents together and them having dinners together and those types of things. Like really, for me, I just loved so much, and I would want to run to those friends, literally just run and be there because it felt so good. And we didn't always have that in my house. My parents, I love them dearly. They are extremely tough love on me and always have been. And you'd have to ask them, but I feel like I was always the really good kid that did everything I was supposed to do. And I, again, worked really hard, always in school throughout college. And there was not a nurturing, loving, caring place, like a warmth there. I didn't ever feel that really. And I know that, that was really hard for me. And it probably didn't dawn on me until I saw my other friends' parents being that way with them. For me, it was like, if something did go wrong, it was like, well, what did you do, Sonny? Or how did you make this happen? And, and that works sometimes, but a lot of times, I just needed, the love. I needed hugs. I needed kisses, just like any other, like the way I am with my children. It's just probably what I always wanted growing up was that love. And so I became that, and that is in me. Just to be loving and nurturing, I think is so important for growing up and for kids and even as adults. Like we just need that.
It's a lot of pressure to put on a child. You felt like you had to be perfect all the time. And if you weren't perfect, you were blamed for not being perfect.
I don't know that I was blamed for not being perfect, but if I really look back at like my childhood, I definitely felt like I couldn't do much wrong, or what I did do wrong was like catapulted into, like it's so bad. And so I, even from clear back then, I think that fear of not wanting to do something wrong or not messing up, for sure. And, that definitely tracks back to like when I was young in school, always through dance. And I know that's hard coaches and mentors that I had, which I loved. That's another thing with coaches I always felt like this closeness with them because they were guiding me and helping me. And they were hard on me, but I saw the results. And so I guess I thought that that's the way life really goes. You just work hard and do things this way and then you see results. But along the way, there's an emotional side of it that you're not getting, or I wasn't getting probably.
Yeah.
So
they're like filling that void that you weren't getting like emotionally filled at home.
Right.
And then it's like tiptoeing around like you feeling like, you just have to be obedient all the time.
Yes.
And just like fall into those almost like bad habits of where it's like, you're putting so much pressure on yourself and you're not really able to like fully be a kid and make mistakes because you felt like that pressure to just like be perfect and obedient and
like I didn't
follow the rules and just
do
like
it.
walk that straight line. Otherwise, like who knows what's going to happen.
Like in high school, I didn't drink all through high school. I didn't even drink in the beginning of college. I was always afraid to go to a party, or I was very afraid of just like, I guess, being around that or doing like the wrong thing, I was just aware of it. And, I saw other people doing it, but I think I was always kind of a little bit in fear, or, I'll just like bake cookies at home after prom. And like, that's just what it's going to be. Like,
you thought that was normal.
And
you're like, everyone does this.
Yeah. And it was cute and it was fun. And it was just, I felt like that was just the better place to be. And my mom probably did, she was controlling. So, and I understand, but having me like at home and all that stuff, like she had an eye on me, at all times. And then that was okay because it made me successful in life for sure. But I think there was a lot of fear going back to my childhood for sure.
How were your relationships when you first started like dating in
high school? So in high school, again, I was very busy, with school and dance. And I did, though. I had a high school boyfriend, and we were in the same grade. I also dated my husband for a time in high school. The person that I dated in high school, I was a couple years and very innocent. We lived right by each other. So again, his family his parents were together, and he had brothers, and it was like I spent a lot of time with their family, and I was close to his mom. I found comfort there. And it was, just innocent, simple. And then we were going to go to college together, but we ended up going to different colleges. And my husband and I, again, we did date in high school a bit. And then I went to college. He, ended up, he had a baby with someone, and they got married. So he did the family thing, and I didn't talk to him for 10 years almost since that. But high school was pretty normal, like pretty normal, pretty innocent, I would say.
How did you and your husband reconnect?
So 10 years later, we had like a 10-year high school reunion that neither one of us attended the actual reunion. But at that time, there were like numbers exchanged and, things like that. And I don't know who texted who first or how we reconnected that way, but through like mutual friends, we reconnected. I didn't know that he had children at the time. He didn't let me know that. But we did have like some phone conversations, and then we decided to meet for lunch one day. And I can honestly say that was it. Like once we met, it was, I was done with college. I had just moved back from LA. I was working in LA at the time. My life was kind of in a transitional period, and it was about to like take off. My salon career was about to like take off at that time. I had just finished working for Brittany Spears, and we just had a lot to catch up on.
So when you and him reconnected and had that lunch, he was still married at the time?
Yes, he was. Now that you ask, he was still married. However, he did tell me, so I found out he had kids because one day on the phone, I heard like little voices, and I was like, what is that? Who is that? And he said, oh, those are my kids. And I was like, kids, like plural, like you have more than one? And he said, yeah, so he told me. And then when we met, it was just him and I at lunch. And of course, I asked, you're married. I didn't know his wife or anything like that. And he said that they were separated. I did very shortly after that, before we went any further, I made him take me to like their home to make sure that they were like moved out, because I wanted to make sure that was happening. And it was. And then he had filed like shortly after there.
How long after that first lunch date did you guys like start a relationship again?
Felt like it was pretty quick. I'm totally guessing right now, but we kept in contact, and then started dating. I feel like I met his kids pretty quickly, and obviously fell in love with them. They are amazing kids, and I know for sure that when him and I moved into our first apartment, like the first place we ever lived together, I know that his divorce was final then. So I don't know the exact timeline, but I know it was final then.
Okay, so now you guys are dating. Mm-hmm. Like how did that like integration of friendships and life and just careers, like, this is becoming more serious. You can see picture yourself marrying this person potentially. Like what was like kind of the progression of the foundation of your guys' relationship?
I was at that time, I didn't know I was like ready to be married or anything like that. But
how old were you at this time?
31, I
think.
Or did I get married at 31? I don't know. Maybe 28. Something around there, like late
20s to 30s.
Late
we'll just
20s,
call it that.
Late 20s. I think I got married at 31 or 32.
Okay.
So shortly before that, But I do remember, I had a really, really big college group of friends, and they are incredible people. And it seems like I miss them so much. We all had, sorry, that's emotional. We all had like it seemed like we were all doing something big. You know, we all supported each other. And
you had big goals.
Yeah, we all did. And it was an incredible time. And then, you know, in regard to my husband, that was my high school crew that he was still connected to. So it really was like this awesome mix of like
blending of
the blending of like
Sunny and young adult Sunny.
And it was good for me because when we like earlier talking about that void, my friends and like that void, like I was full, my heart was like so full at that time because I'm like, I get to introduce you to like my crew that you've
essentially family, because your friends were your family.
That crew was my family 100%. And then I still had my high school friends. So that was like the greatest thing ever. So it was like a really beautiful time. I think, and I know, you know, my husband was, even back in high school, I would use the word like delicately, but like possessive, not delicately. He was possessive. And so looking back now, like I've had all this time to think of like what happened. Yeah, I was flirty, you know, I was a dancer and all my friends were dancers. And so we would go out to LA or we'd go dancing. And although a lot of what he perceived, you know, it was innocent, dancing or singing a song with someone would upset him. And that's early on, a lot of that was he would like leave me stranded somewhere or just bail and I couldn't understand it because my group of college friends, like this is how we were. But bringing him into that, I think there was probably an insecurity there that I didn't nurture in him like I should have, you know, and it just probably grew and grew over time. But it was like really beautiful time and integrating my, you know, I was never obviously a mom yet. So I had these two beautiful little kids that were just like awesome. And it was just so fun, you know. And then of course when I had my kids, like it was even better. It was like we had this incredible just like blending of everything, and it was just, you know, it was magical at a time.
Do you feel like with him being possessive though, like do you feel like it wasn't a warning for you because like you kind of liked the attention?
I was just gonna say that, and not at all a warning sign, because I 100% was like, oh, this is great. Like he's like a total protector.
Wants me.
Yeah.
And like that.
And I knew that since high school, you know, and I did feel like in high school, I do think, you know, I broke his heart a bit in high school.
How dare you?
Yeah, it sucks because you know me, I don't like ever intentionally want to hurt anyone. And looking back, yeah, like he probably carried that for a while. But yes, he was possessive, you know, and looking back now, it's like, holy shit, that's a fucking total red flag, like major, you know, but you just don't see it that way. And I am someone, unfortunately, who I truly always, like, I will always see the beauty in everyone, always. Like, I still do in my husband. Like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, I will love him forever, because not just because he's the father of my kids. It's not some toxic love here that I'm speaking of. I love him. He will always have a piece of my heart, because that was a true, real love for me. And no one can take that away from me, you know. And I know you don't want to hear it, but it's like, yeah, that's how I feel. But looking back, yeah, for sure, hard red flags.
Now, okay, so there's the first red flag. Now, leading up to like the marriage, how was the relationship like leading up to that? Were there other things that like started to progress that you were like,
yes,
maybe I shouldn't go down this path, but like you were so in love, like talk to me about that.
Yes, like, so in love. I mean, beyond so in love. And it felt like it was both, you know, we were just so in love. And now I've got these like stepkids who I considered kids, you know, they're mine. And I absolutely love them to this day. I love them. Like, so that was like, it's like this whirlwind, right? It's like now, and he's like, you know, he's like getting us a home, like not buying, but like renting. Cause when I met him, he was coming from obviously not a great place. Like he was like, I think about to file bankruptcy, and he had these 2 kids and divorce. So it was like all this stuff that I was like, baggage. Whoa, yeah. But, and I get it now, cause I have it now, but I just saw right through it. And I also didn't know anything about it. Like, I didn't get it. Like, I was like, what does that mean? And you're still great. So like, we're going to make this work. And I also knew that he had a business mind because he's extremely good at what he does. And I knew where I was going to as far as my plans in business. So I kind of was like, we're going to do this. Like, as long as we love each other and we love these kids, we're going to make this work.
Looking at the relationship through those rose-colored glasses where it's like, everything's perfect. It's fine.
And it wasn't perfect. And when you ask about, did any other things? Yeah, way, way early. Well, for example, and I don't even know if you know this, like he moved us to me and him to a home 2 doors down from the home, his family home with his children and his wife.
His ex-wife.
On
the same street,
2 doors down. And I remember him finding the home, and his father was like, that's not a good idea to do that. And he did it anyways. And I was not a mom at the time, wasn't ever married. It's like, this stuff it should have registered, but it didn't. I remember feeling like, this is kind of weird.
Like uncomfortable and awkward, but maybe
he
not
was so,
like crazy.
He doesn't like register things that way. He was just like, no, this is a great house. Like, whatever, that was more important.
Yeah.
And I remember like,
and it didn't feel like it was like, oh, I want to be closer to my kids. Like,
his kids didn't live there anymore. That was the home that I had gone to see that they were moving out of. This was their
so
like
it
divorce
was just
home.
living next to his ex-wife, basically.
No, she was already gone too. Everyone was gone. But the fact is, like, you're driving your children down a street that this was their family home. I can't imagine doing that to Ryder and Gia. Like, it's kind of like I don't know. I would think that's kind of difficult. Memories. And his ex-wife used to come and put like notes on our window and like, please pay your child support. Like, this is the mother of your children. I mean, looking back now, yeah, rose-colored glasses for sure. I was like, what is going on here?
So he didn't have a good relationship with his ex-wife then, obviously.
No, but he was able, as always, to justify any of his actions, and that's their relationship. But even his infidelity in that marriage, even to me, the way he justified it, I was like, I get it. All he would say was, I wasn't in love, so it was okay.
So it's kind of just that, like,
yeah. And I was like, that's his first marriage. Maybe that's how he really felt. But like, looking back, no. You can't just justify things. Like, we have to take accountability for, or we don't change those behaviors, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's part of like growing and evolving, is you have to like be able to look within at some point and say, regardless of how your feelings are, like, what you probably did to this family wasn't great, and yeah, you can move on and like move past that and start a new thing. But and maybe people just don't realize the destruction they leave behind, and I know that a lot now from what's happened with us.
What about now leading up to when you guys got married? How was like the relationship then?
Still like quite blissful. I opened my business the same year I got married. I helped him study for his contractor's license. So we were hustlers. I mean, honestly, we were hustlers. And I think we'll probably individually always be that way. But looking at that timeline, this is when, even in that first home I was describing that we were renting, this is when a lot of broken things in the home were happening. So like I say, destruction, but I don't know if people understand what I mean by destruction. It starts like small, like a vase or whatever. It's a picture, a mirror, a table. It's just like those types of things were happening. And I can't remember then if there was like pushing. I mean, I've been through a lot of therapy now, and what I thought was totally, and I mean this, totally normal in a home was 100% not normal at all. The amount of like people, men that I've asked, like, or not so much now, but before, like, you don't push your wife, like not even a push. Like, I'm literally asking this question, like, was it that bad? Well, yeah, I think it was that bad. And I think looking back to those tiny things, I didn't see that was going to lead to more, because it's almost a test, right? It's like you're going to break something and you're going to see my reaction. And, then we kind of slowly see like what Sunny's going to do and how she's going to react. And
how did you react?
In the beginning, probably just scared, or even maybe like confused. I'm sure I'm sure there was like a, what the fuck? You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was that for?
Yeah. Like, what is that? Or just, he would almost like even to like hurt himself. Like, I remember in that home, just like a candle being on the table and he would just like smash it. And like, he had to go to the emergency room because his hand got cut open. And of course, this is when we start lying to everyone. We're lying to, I mean, not back then, but we're lying to the hospital. We're lying to everybody because when there's blood and you're going to the hospital, like,
they want to know what happened.
You can either tell the truth and now your family's on the line, which is what happened to me, or you lie, which also happened to me, and that destroyed me from the inside out. So I don't know.
Did your parents like your husband?
Neither one of them wanted me to marry him, if I'm being totally honest. And my mom was adamant no, because I believe she was saying that because he had kids. Like, she was looking at it as usual from like a financial standpoint. Like,
got it.
This isn't good. You're about to take off in your career. And I get that, you know, as a mom.
Yeah,
and,
like stepping into you're a single person and now you're a stepmom.
Yeah. But I was like, she didn't know, I don't think she'll ever know how much I yearned for family.
Yeah.
So I was like, I am all in with this because I can do this and I can do that with the business. And I did. Like, I loved it. And I also loved his parents too. You know, I loved everything about that whole thing. My dad, absolutely not. My dad's also very tough love, but I feel very close to my dad in just a different way. I think he meant to have like a boy child, and so he tried to tomboy me up. I don't know, but I get him. Like, we get each other. Okay. And yes, my dad walked me down the aisle telling me, don't do this. You don't have to do this. Don't do this. And I'm just like smiling because we've got all these people here and it's beautiful. And no, this is my life. So of course I'm not going to listen, you know. And at the time, my husband, you know, this is like my husband now. Like, this is my family.
What was your reason, or what was your dad's reason for not wanting you to marry your husband? So
I lied to my dad and said that he had pushed me before our wedding, but he really did more than that. I remember the date. This is literally off the top of my head, but I know that it was my best friend's birthday. We were in LA coming home, and I think it was like January 5th of 2011. I got married that same year. He, in the car, backhanded me in the car. And, you know, he says it was just like a reaction or whatever, but my nose just poured blood. Like, I mean, I'd never experienced anything like that. And so
was that the first time he had like really like laid hands on you, other than like maybe pushes or broken stuff around the house?
Yeah. I mean, that was
like the defining moment of like, this is like, this
different.
Is big. This is different.
Yeah. But, you know, and I say this, and I've said this to you before, there's always an excuse, right? Like, you know, it was like a reaction. Okay, maybe, or I don't know, maybe I was too loud in the car. I don't know. I don't know how, because
were you arguing? Like what, like
that's very possible.
Okay.
You know, and again, so I think back to that, like with my college crew, and like he has gotten, like I said, even me like dancing to a song from far away from someone has angered him enough to do something. So yes, that is very possible that like there was some of that happening, and it probably was frustrating to me because I knew like nothing is happening, but like I'm trying to prove this to you, and that was a bit hard. But again, I probably could have nurtured his insecurities much, much better, and maybe that would have saved a lot. I don't know. But again, what I was going to say about how I've expressed this to you, and this is like so real that it's like I can see it. I can see these moments like it was right now. That's how clear these are to me. Like, I know what stoplight we were at. I know Archibald. Like, I know where we were. And when you bleed, like this is a couple times that's happened to me, I like don't know I'm bleeding. You just feel like warmth running down your shirt. I remember what shirt I was wearing, and now it's like all over you. It isn't so much, and this might sound crazy to people, but it isn't so much the action of what just happened. It's the reaction of this person that is absolutely shocking, and that never changed, not one time in all these years. His reaction is absolutely shocking. It's nothing.
Nothing.
There is no, I'm like quiet, you know, like you're stunned in that moment. Like your nose
And
gets
you're
hit,
bleeding.
and you're bleeding and, you know, you're in the car still and you're in very close quarters. And that is time for another time, like being in close proximity. It was very difficult in his truck or wherever we were. But when you're like bleeding like that moment, we were close to home because we were on Archibald. I lived in Eastville at the time. And there is no like, oh my God, what did I do? Or even when we got home, I ran.
Like rendering aid. Like
Not at
usually
all.
like if
Not at
somebody
all.
is bleeding, it's like,
Not at all.
pull over, let me fix this. Like, oh my gosh, what did I do? I didn't mean to do that. I'm so sorry. It was like,
No,
just
and-
leaving you sitting there bleeding.
Well, we were in the car, and when we get home, I ran into the bathroom to look like what the damage was, and it was bad. I mean, it was like a lot. And I think I like asked him for a towel or like, hey, you know, and he was just like, get it yourself. Like that type of reaction was so beyond. Like, I don't even know if I registered it at the time. I just remember feeling so alone and so sad. And then he would go to bed. And then a lot of times when that stuff was happening, it was like, you know, the next day or the couple days later, it's like, hey, I booked this penthouse at this hotel or this whatever. And that became a lot of, you know, we had, I don't know, it was really hard to make sense of what the fuck was that? And is this going to happen again? Or was this an accident? And you're not talking to me like you're sorry.
Right.
So
And I'm your wife at this point. Like,
I was not his wife. I was engaged.
Not
but
yet.
Still.
Okay. Oh, this is built right before the wedding.
Yeah.
So this is the leading factor to what raised red flags with your dad.
Yeah. Yeah. And I, you know, it's like, I don't even know that my dad knows that story. He probably does now, but I just like, I did not say things for a very long time because what are you going to do? Like, what are you going to say that? And then it's like, well, now do I look dramatic for saying that? Or was it my fault that this happened? And that will show in the history of my marriage that I was told that everything was my fault. And I believe to this day, he probably thinks that everything is my fault. And the truth is it's both of our faults. But, you know, I don't think that anyone deserves the treatment that I got. I really don't. And I would tell him that all the time. Like, don't you think you've punished me enough? Like, it's enough, you know? It just felt like overboard for me.
Take a minute.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're doing so good.
I'm sorry.
I'm like, I can't look at you.
I know.
I'll cry. Let's talk about kind of like progression now. After you get married, you know, you've now experienced abuse before you even got married. You still went forward with getting married. Kind of just talk about, you know, the good times, the bad. You mentioned after the abuse, he would go and buy you things and talk about like that love bombing where it's like, hey, I'm going to do something really bad.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to like do something really good to try and make up for it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to apologize.
Yeah.
I'm just going to like love bomb you.
Yeah. So a lot of times after an incident or like a destruction of something, even though he didn't really ever apologize. I've thought about this. There is one time where in my big Corona home where he, you know, hit me with a golf club in the stomach and it like took me down, right? But this is the one time that I can recall him running over to me like, oh my God, like almost like that was an accident. Like that, your reaction makes me feel like that was a real accident. However, I'll never know. But I feel like he did that reaction because that was done in my driveway. And I wonder sometimes like if people could see. I've always thought that. And that is like such a shitty feeling for me because I'm like,
You're only doing this because you may get caught.
Yeah. And so much in private that was done that people don't know. And I don't care who has seen text messages and my entire life on display because this man definitely was taking all these SIM cards out of all of my phones. I watched him do it and putting them in laptops. And what were you doing with those? I don't know. But I can promise anyone who thinks they know this story doesn't know the details and what happened in my homes, in our cars. They do not know. So these moments of like, you know, not apologizing or not reacting like in a way that you would think someone would, they mentally like started to like kind of break me down, you know, because you don't know. And then, yeah, it's like, well, let's just go to this vacation or let's go here. And I did totally just go with it. Because, you know, it's sometimes you're like, was it that bad? I mean, I know that sounds crazy to say to you now because you're like, yes, honey, it was. But I truly was like, was it that bad? You know, I don't know. Like, I know now, but at the time, my mind was not there. And my mind was more like, he's angry. You know, he has an anger problem, obviously. You set him off in some way to get this reaction. Like, I'm trying to make this make sense to myself so that I can continue building a life and a business and a family with this person who I do love. So no one could have told me anything. I was going to justify this no matter what, because I felt like we can make this better. There's no way we can't make this better, you know, or it will stop or whatever. And that is not the case. This does not stop. It will continue.
Well, and two, do you feel like because it's your first marriage, his second marriage, and then with your parents being divorced, and at this point you get married really young, you didn't have like a lot of married people around you to kind of know what a normal relationship looks like.
Right. And that's a good question. My sister had like at that time 2 divorces under her belt. She did not have custody of her son. I wasn't seeing a lot of like solid families. My best friend, I was kind of like always going on her timeline. Like, she got married and then I got married, and she got pregnant, and then 4 months later I got pregnant. And we loved that because it was like, I could like learn everything.
You're like walking milestones with your best friend together.
She's like the best. So I was, you know, that was cool, but I didn't have a lot of solid, like
influences, good influence, structure, like knowing what a marriage is supposed to look like.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like,
were you going to church at that time too? Because I know you now, but I know like religion and God is like a huge part of your life. Like, what was that? What did that look like at that point?
Yeah, we were, you know, definitely on Sundays, and I definitely did not have the relationship. I've always had my relationship with God for sure, like in that way, and it's always been super important to me. So going to church and things like that, and I worked like the MOPS groups, and I was in little groups. I believe around that time I got baptized like on a women's retreat around that time, and you know, I remember my husband saying to me, he would say things like this, like in church, you know, like, God, this is all I ever wanted, you know, and I would be thinking like, do you mean like a girl in church? Because I know your ex-wife went to church too. So I don't know if he was just really happy, you know, but yeah, we definitely had a faith, and you know, we were trying in that department, and with my stepkids too, for sure.
Let's talk about your career, because during this whole progression of this relationship with your husband, you were also building a business.
Yeah. So I got married the same year I opened my first salon, so 2011. And yes, prior to that was just, like I said, I really was always just a hustler, and my mind is always going on different things and what's going to make the industry better. And I knew it was a passion. I knew it was something that I really wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do it on a way different scale. Like, it wasn't just like a salon. I really wanted a place where like everyone felt so good and so beautiful, and that transcended to my stylist. You know, it was like, I don't care if it's your client or someone else's client, like, you need to be complimenting these clients constantly as they're coming in, as they're leaving, like just making sure that it was a place that vibe was just good all around, like no gossiping in there, no, none of that stuff. So I wrote a business plan while I was living with my mom before I got married, and he was around for that, you know, and I stuck to it, and I had some mentors along the way, and you know, he was, I would say, encouraging, very encouraging too. Our careers truly did, like, they were very parallel. Like,
so he really supported your business and what you were wanting to accomplish.
Absolutely. I think he loved it, and He also, he's a contractor, so he was able to, he just was further along in life than me, really. And he was able to, like, when we looked at locations, like even the first addiction at that salon, I looked at the location and was like, oh, absolutely not. And he was the one that was like, wait, let's look at this a different way. And, that stuff was key for me. Like, he could see things a different way than I could. My job was to, create the actual meat and potatoes of the business and like the heart of the business. And that's exactly what I did with the staff and obviously the atmosphere of it. But he was very encouraging and very supportive, and, he loved it for a time until he didn't.
And when he didn't, what happened?
Well, I would have to like talk about my affair first, because I don't know what to do right now. Sorry.
That's okay. How long did you have your salons open for?
So I opened my first one again in 2011, and that one, both of them, I held until about 2020. I guess it might be 23 on paper. 2022 was when kind of like the downfall of everything happened. I opened my second location when I was pregnant with Gia, my daughter. So 2017 is when I opened the second one. The first one was like my heart and soul. We built from literally the ground up, and like it was just beautiful, magical. We had an incredible staff. I was like very diligent on who was working there and the creativity and the talent, and more than that, like the person that was working there. Like I wanted to make sure I always had just really good people working. And I was, at a time, for the majority of the time owning this business, I was, in it with these girls and the two guys that work there who were awesome. Yeah. I loved this staff like so.
Oh, and you guys were
so
killer.
Very much.
You were in magazines.
Yeah,
You've
we
done
were
celebrity
doing so
hair.
well.
Like you had created a incredible career for yourself and name for yourself.
And
in the
I
industry.
felt like I was so happy that I created that for these girls too. Like, we would get these girls that were like, had no experience really except for school, and that was my thing, was like to mold them and educate them and get them to be better than me, for sure. And that was like the goal, and they were killer, and we just worked really, really hard. And I feel like did really, really great work. And, I definitely feel like, I was just in it with them. I never felt like I was a boss ever. Like, whenever girls would call me like, oh, boss babe, like, I freaking hate that stuff. I'm like, I don't want to be a boss babe. I'm just like here with them. Yeah. Like, that was
having fun.
That was my heart, and
what you were doing,
making people feel so good. And like the rewards were great too. But more than that, it was like a family. It was a family for sure.
So let's talk about what people didn't see. So they see the success, they see the magazine articles, they see you showing up, and, from the outside perspective, people would think that it's like wildly successful, but like what people don't see are the bad days. And even my personal experience being a client of yours, it's the days where you don't show up, you're late, you aren't fully present. It was like, what is happening? Yeah. And from an outside perspective, people are just going to think that is you just being a shitty hairstylist.
Totally. And
for lack of better words.
And honestly,
unreliable and just lack of poor time management or something. Like, they see it as you just didn't give a shit. Yeah. Didn't give a shit.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I'm just your event that you need your hair done for, not as important as what I have going on in my life. You know what?
And all of those things that you just said, 100% were true at the time. It wasn't that I never one day didn't give a shit, but I absolutely was late, didn't show up. I absolutely 1000% could not manage all of that with what I was trying to manage at home, including the kids at this time. Like, now we're getting threatenings about like the kids' livelihood, and I did not know how to manage any of it. And again, we haven't gotten there yet, but substance abuse is part of our story. And I say our because I feel like people think it's just mine, not our, me and you, my husband. But that played a part in it, I would assume, for sure. In 2022, you know, this tragic suicide attempt happened in my home with my children upstairs.
Not for you, for your husband.
I'm sorry. Yes, my husband. And you know, I will say for sure, and I've thought about this over and over and over. For me, after that event, because the days after that we had, and I'll go into like the story, but the days after that we had like, it was this joyous occasion. Like we have friends and his family over and my family over, and everyone's like, oh my God, Sonny, like you saved his life. And, you know, this was like such a terrible accident and da-da-da, you know, and
no one knew the truth.
No one knew the truth.
I didn't know the truth for a long time.
Yeah,
and I was like one of the first phone calls that you made after that incident. It was like, what happened?
Because what that did to me that I didn't realize then, first of all, I never dealt with that like trauma. And it was absolutely fucking traumatic to go through and to see, and no one will ever see what I saw because he was gone and I was there.
And the fact that too, not only did you have to deal with all of like the trauma of that, but now you had to lie to everybody about what actually happened.
So what I was, so that's exactly right. Like, and nobody would know this because no one knew the story. No one knew the truth. So, but I did, and he did actually. And obviously God did, but and even my kids don't really know to this day. They don't really know like what happened, you know, but when we have all these people coming over and it's this like happy thing, and they're literally, his family's like making me go into the garage to show them
what happened.
Oh my God.
And you have to like fabricate a whole story.
But looking back, I probably was no, I didn't fabricate it. I said the truth, of the story, but it was not an accident. And I knew that from the moment I saw him. I knew it wasn't an accident. And he did too, you know? And so when we are now saying this was an accident, all it did was like slap me upside the head, like with 1,000 bricks, saying, you are saying everything in your home that's happening is an accident, Sonny, and you know
all
it's
the
not.
Lies, all the trauma, everything. Is just
go to the hospital.
Anything is an accident.
You get a cut, you know, from it's a vase that was thrown, but it still gave me a black eye. I'm going to work saying my dog pawed me in the face. I mean, this is like a lot of lies that you're like choking down, and I fucking couldn't do it anymore. I could not do it anymore. And that event was, now it's like, this is life and death. And yes, I could have lost my life for sure, but I saw him die in front of me. I mean, so I have to now be happy and say this was an accident and then go back to work and like manage my kids. And like, I honestly couldn't do it. And I just hope that I can be at some point forgiven for all of those clients and all of those people that I let down, because I did let them down 100%. And that is so far from who I was and wanted to be. You know, I forever want to apologize to everyone, including my staff, for their livelihood and all these things that got taken away from everyone and what just happened. Unfortunately, like, I was dealing with so much more than Sonny could like take on. And I didn't really know at that point what was right, what was wrong, what do I do? How do I get out of this? How do I save my children? Also my husband, I'm saving him too. Like, I couldn't do it at the time.
And it's like, that was like one of the biggest things, but that wasn't like all of it. Like, I know that you've shared with me so many stories about trying to go to work and him
that was happening.
Basically derailing all of your means of transportation or doing things to you so you couldn't show up to work. Do you want to go into that too a little bit? Yeah, again, this is like coming off the heels of the affair, but you know, because this is why he was so angry at that time. But yes, at this time, my husband was just not, there seemed like there was like a deep hatred for me. That's all I can say now. I think this was like it felt that way. And he was like, if you were to ever ask someone back in high school, or even maybe some of my college friends, I'm not sure, but I have had definitely people tell me like something seems off with him, or he seems like dark. Like there is like issues.
Yeah, there's like
unresolved issues.
Something happening there. And at this time, you know, I'm seeing this like rageful side that is getting stronger. And yeah, it's very dark and very paralyzing, you know? So I can only speak for what I think. I don't know, because he'll never say, but yeah, I don't think he wanted me to be successful anymore. I know that for sure. He didn't want me. He would tell me, don't you effing pay those landlords anymore. Those girls are all jealous of you. F those fat bitches. I mean, like, these things were said to me. There was a girl that, oh my God, I remember him telling me, he would like tell me things to do or text, you know, but I had to do it to carry that out. And there was a girl in my salon that I totally loved. She was like an awesome employee. And I don't know what was going on. Probably I'm not showing up. And I'm like, what, trying to blame her? No, this is my fault. I'm not showing up. And he tells me, tell that girl tell that bitch she works for you. Like, anyone who's ever known me, I do not speak that way to my employees or my kids or to my friends. Like, but I did. I text her, you work for me. She quit the next day. And she was my manager. This is not Carla, but it was a manager that was amazing. And I just remember being in shock, like, holy, like, this is how quick. And then I noticed he started doing that to me. Like, you need to call the police on these people. You need to call CPS on this girl, this girl, this girl. I did not and would not ever do that. But basically, I'm trying to express, like, the way I was so
like controlling now.
Yeah,
like
but
it's
I
like
knew
increasing.
better. Yeah,
like
but
increasing
fearful.
to try to like
Make
get
me
you to do things that
like,
he wanted you to do.
Yeah, and it was like, why don't you do this? Or why don't you say this? Because anytime we've ever had law enforcement around, your ass is gone. Like, you're not even around. Like, I'm on the front lines. I have been on the front lines, as you know. I have been on the front lines for the last, call it 3 years, on the front lines with law enforcement, CPS, anyone answering all the questions, while this person gets to sit back and like not have to answer anything
and not take any accountability.
And not take any, you know, and it's like, that became very difficult. And I made a lot of mistakes and a lot of bad choices. And, you know, it is just unfortunate. And all I can say about that is I had to go through that pain for some reason. You know, there's a purpose through pain, right? This is what, like, we believe.
Yeah.
And I see that. I'm starting to see that now. Like, God would not have put me through all this pain and all of this tragedy
For nothing.
For nothing. So there is a reason why, and it will be better. And it is very hard to see. You know, as you know, I've spent the last year or so on my knees praying. I mean, just trying to heal with the help of you and Brian, your husband, my children, and healing myself. And you guys have been in the trenches with us and just feeding us scripture and helping us, you know, move forward. But I tell you, I do believe God. Like, I must be very strong, because I don't know that I don't know how people would get through this. Like, it's so hard. And my husband knows I don't have the family support. He obviously told me to cut every single friend out of my life. And that is the truth. If anyone believes otherwise, they are wrong. He told me to cut out. You could name a name right now of friends that I had. Yes, he told me to cut them out. And so
there's
was
a
hard.
lot of isolation and manipulation going on behind the scenes that people didn't even know about.
So much.
They just thought that you were just blowing them off and ghosting them.
And I was not. And it makes, well, at a time I did, because he was telling me to. And if someone would text me, it would anger him. And so I became this, again, this is the language you'd have to ask him, but, you know, I got choked up against the wall once saying, this is his words saying to me, you know, she's so submissive, I'll never have to hurt her this way. Okay, the major thing that I heard there was that I'm not submissive. And I know I can be like fun, and I probably for sure was like mouthy at a time, but like, I was mostly on my knees, like the last couple years of our lives, trying to speak to this person in the most submissive way and try and find out, like, what can I do? What do we do? How do we fix this? It was more that, you know, than I don't know. Like, and again, that was like biblical to me, and you need to be this way. And I don't know. It was just like, I don't know how to be all these roles, you know, and I'm losing myself along the way. And that's exactly what happened to me. Like, yeah.
And I know that you've mentioned, you know, even him like weaponizing your own faith against you. Like,
for sure. Through the, like, again, the last 3 years, I feel like I've just been in, like, you know, court dates for his criminal cases. I'm just, you know, I'm testifying in one case, like, to completely protect him. And I didn't lie under oath, but very elusive, and definitely saying everything was an accident when I'm sure they knew it wasn't. But yes, I did that. yes, him telling me, you know, you have to lie for your family, Sonny. God hates restraining orders. God hates divorce. These things were like embedded into my mind. And so I'm doing this for you. And all the while on this way to this testimony, he tries to kill us in his truck. Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. He tries to kill us in his truck.
I'm just like, I look shocked because it's like, even though I know the story, it's just like hearing it again. I'm just like saying
it's just, but
it's shocking.
It was shocking. And again, when you speak of like submission, you know, I feel like I was so submissive because there was nothing I was going to say in those moments when someone has that much power. And you see the rage and you see the intent, you know, that's the thing. Whenever I see his eyes, his face, his hands, that's intent with me. And I will never think otherwise because I saw it. He can say whatever he wants, but I saw it. I was there.
It's not an accident.
So when you're in a truck and you're on your way to testify, which I've never done in my life, into a complete huge court, you know, that like we've got DAs and like all this stuff that I've never dealt with in my life before, because why would I have? But I'm on my way to do this, you know. Not only did he tell me to tell my father that I was going to kill myself if I didn't do the right thing on the stand, on the way there, he's freaking out in the car, which he did often. Okay, so that wasn't like a huge thing. He always lost control of the car with the kids in the car, by the way, lots of times. But this time, he said out of his mouth, I'll just fucking kill us both. And that whole steering wheel came out of that truck and he lost control. And that, I cannot even describe the fear in that moment. And I just shut up and I couldn't wait to get to, you know, and he like got it back in, but we were on the freeway going, I don't know how fast. We had no control over that truck. And I honestly thought, Brittany, I thought that was the last time I would ever see Ryder and Gia. 100%. Like there's no way he's going to put this thing back in the truck. And he did somehow, some way. And then, an hour later, I'm on the stand testifying for him, you know, to like protect whatever I'm protecting. I don't even know at this point. And then when I get off the stand, the first thing I asked him was, how did I do?
And this case was, for those that don't know, it was for abuse.
Yeah. But he said, now I know you really love me, you know? And then of course I did ask that question
again,
too.
That's stroking the ego, just manipulation.
Yeah. And at the time, you know, we can talk about this another time, but 2024, I would love to dive into with the timeline of like courts and all that stuff. But I think my husband left our marriage way before I knew. I think he had a lot planned. I think he needed to use me for these court dates. And I unfortunately was just believing in him because he was telling me to. You can only trust me, Sonny. You can only trust me. And that was, I didn't really have anything else, Britt. Like I didn't have, like you were there, but he had moved me to Fallbrook. And
and even,
I was like,
even with me, I mean, you and I have known each other for over 10 years, you know, and we met because you became a client of mine at my own business. And then I became a client of yours at your business. And, you know, even just the timeline of our friendship, it was like, you know, from the beginning, you and I just clicked. It was like, oh, she's going to be my new best friend.
Yeah.
There were so many moments that I even tried to reach out and couldn't get a hold of you and really didn't know what was going on in your life, aside from the fact that certain times where, you know, for those that don't know, own a spray tanning company, you see your clients in their most vulnerable state naked in front of you. So there were times where, I would see markings on you and just didn't ask any questions. My daughter, look at her legs. I'm surprised people don't think that she's, you know, had something happen because, it's just, you don't know. You could be completely clumsy.
Yeah.
Your first thought in life isn't like,
Something's
this person's being abused or something. Like you don't know until I got to know you more and built that trust with you where you felt comfortable enough to kind of like open up, and then me witnessing firsthand, you know, going to parties and kind of seeing just the encounters that you would have between your husband and you.
And things
phone
your
conversations
has commented on with my husband that I didn't even know.
Yeah, so it's just, it wasn't until we really got to see you in the
Yeah.
not business side where it's like now it's like a personal relationship and a friendship and, you know, getting to see what was happening behind closed doors.
You know, and you bring up like something I forgot about, you know, in around 2022, I would say in my salon, you know, again, this is like something I was told to do. So it's like, I don't know, summertime, like August, whatever. It's like, he's telling me, you know, you cannot wear that. So you need to wear long sleeves, like turtlenecks, like, you know, to cover. And I was like, you know, okay, because it's so hot, but okay. And there were times where like I would wear like a bodysuit, but like wear a jacket over it. And then there were times where you're just so hot and you're working, like I'm sure my station, as you remember, was like kind of in the front. I don't know how long girls were talking about this in the salon, but I'm sure it was way before I knew. I know a lot of them were like, we don't like his presence in here. It's like intimidating. And I was like, I don't know if I was just so dumb or what, but I was like, how? There's no way they know anything. So, but yes, one girl in particular did pull me aside once in her room, and she was almost in tears, and she's like, what is happening? And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, everyone's talking. Yeah. Like at that point, I don't even see this happening because my mind was not even there. I was just like, you know,
you were so far trying to keep everything hidden.
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Not let anybody know what was going on.
And ultimately, can I just say this because I need to? Ultimately, I've known this person since we're like 17 years old, right? Or 16, 17. Like I have seen him through business, through life. And again, I love him, but I have seen him in the way he is very calculating and incredibly smart, and just he's always 2,000 steps ahead of me, and I'm an easy person to be ahead of because like I don't think that way. But I always knew, like I think a part of this fear, and it's just realizing now, is like I am afraid to know what that side looks like with me. And I did not want to like make things any worse. It was like I'd rather almost contain this than like make it all worse, and that was just not possible. Like,
so you always just kind of felt like you had to basically keep your mouth shut because you didn't know the outcome of
I didn't know
opening up to somebody about like, what was actually happening. Yeah, like if it was going to be better for you or worse for you.
Exactly. And like I knew obviously like his mom, she's a mom, you know, she's gonna, no matter what. Like the difference here is like if I don't know, if I got murdered walking out of the studio today, both of my parents would say, what'd she do? And now if this happened to him, God forbid, you know, it's like we're getting this person today. You know, I come from a very different place.
Support system.
Completely. Yeah. So they're going to back him no matter what. And that's fine because that's, you know, but he knew I didn't have that. So I think I was just at a disadvantage all the way.
Did you ever feel like you wanted to talk to people about what was going on, or did you just completely think that it was just normal?
No, I feel like when I started to is when I started drinking, and those phone calls were unfortunately like it was coming out regardless. And I think I was holding so much in that even the stories that I'm saying, like the truck or there are a million, but like breaking our side view mirrors off. So like I'm having to drive the kids to school, like not being able to see, just weird shit like this was happening. Like it doesn't even sound believable, but it was my life and it was a lot to go through. So what am I going to do? Tell someone that he like sprayed me with the hose before I'm trying to go to work? Like, so I can't go to work. Just, it sounds crazy and it makes me sound crazy, but I have learned along the way, like, no, this was a very crazy, chaotic situation that you were in, he was into. But a lot of things I feel like what he was doing in the marriage were causing this chaos, complete chaos that was happening. So I just felt like we're both responsible. So no, like we're going to deal with it. And at that point it was like, want to save the kids.
That was a lot to unpack today. Yeah. I even like impactful for me, like hearing these things again. It's like we've had conversations about these things, obviously. But just like getting out what you've experienced, it's shocking. Is there anything else that you want to say today before we wrap up?
I really do want to apologize to everyone and anyone, even in the slightest way, that was affected by just my personal behavior or how I handled life, my kids, clients, staff, anyone that I handled. I know I made a ton of huge mistakes, and it probably impacted a lot of people in a negative way. And I truly am very sorry for that, and I regret that, and I just wish I could have done it differently. I just wasn't able to at the time, but I don't really go a day without thinking about like all of the people that probably got hurt along the way, or maybe misunderstood something. And yeah, I'm just really sorry for my behavior and what this has done.
I feel like that's your whole purpose of like wanting to create this podcast too, is it's just, it's not just to let people know what you've experienced, because it's a lot and it is hard to talk about.
Yeah.
But there's so many other people out there that have dealt with or are currently dealing with things that you've done. And it's just kind of using this to be able to, you know, heal yourself, but also help heal other people.
100%. The goal here for me and always in life, I feel like I always want to help people and like be of service in every way that I can. I hope and pray that there are people that can hear this and it resonates with them, and I can help people in going through anything, CPS, courts, business,
Abuse,
parenting, friendships that get broken along the way. I would have loved if there was someone that open about things that I could have looked to help, you know, because I kept listening to the wrong person. And if I can shed light on any of these subjects and help in any way, I have a lot of just life experience now, and I'm a lot stronger and I have a lot more discernment. And I hope to help people for sure.
Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
Great chatting.